Hello everyone, my name is Fatima Beatriz. In this video, I'm going to talk you about examples of authentic assessment. Let's start. The number one, oral interviews. But what is an oral interview? Oral assessment techniques are part of the teacher's toolbox for measuring learning objectives. It is a technique or instrument used for various reasons. An individual oral interview is a dialogue between two people, the interviewer who questions and the interviewee who answers. Here, teacher and a student can talk face-to-face in interviews. And now, here we have some advantages. For example, it is an informal and relaxed context. It is conducted over successive days with each student. Teacher records observations on an interview guide. And the last one is easy to administrate and evaluate. These are some examples about advantages of an interview. And now, the number two, story or test retelling. Story retelling is an effective teaching and assessment tool that enables the reader to focus on specific elements of story structure. Students retell main ideas or selected details of text experienced through listening or reading. It's a fun way to teach students and get their attention. Well, and now I'm going to talk you about some advantages. Student produces an oral report. It can be scored on content or language component. It can be scored with a rubric or rating scale. It can determine reading comprehension, reading strategies, and language development, stimulates concentration. And the last one stimulates perceptions. These are some advantages. And now, I am going to talk you about the number three, writing samples. But what is a writing sample? It is entirely your own work. Students generate narrative, expository, persuasive, or reference paper. It is a demonstration of your ability to perform the tasks. And now the advantages. Here we have some advantages. The number one, student produces a written document. It can be scored on content or language component. It can be scored with a rubric or rating scale, and it can determine writing processes. In this part, the student can show what he has work done. The number four, projects or exhibitions. Students complete projects in content area working individually or in pairs because they can participate and have fun at the same time. And the last one, students must solve situation challenges or answer questions through their knowledge, resources, research, reflection, and active cooperation. Well, and now I will show you some advantages about that. Students make a formal presentation, written report, or both. Teacher can observe oral and written reproduce and thinking skills. It can be scored with a rubric or rating scale. The number five, experiments of demonstrations. But what is that? An experiment is a procedure carried out to support, refute, or validate a a hypothesis. A student complete experiment or demonstrate use of materials. A child can perform basic experiments to understand. And now here we have some advantages. For example, it can be scored with a rubric or rating scale. Students make a formal presentation, written report or both. Teachers can observe oral and written products and thinking skills. They can develop content in a practical and attractive way for a student. And the number 6, constructed response items. It is a type of response that consists of answering a certain question but in a reasoned way, not repetitive or memorized. These tools seek to evaluate what students know how to build through asking questions. Students respond in writing to open-ended questions. And some advantages are: a student produces a written report. It is usually scored of substantive information and thinking skills. It can be scored with a rubric or rotating scale. And now the number 7, teacher observations. It is reasonable to approach observation as a procedure that requires at least prior reflection from professionals who will carry out this task. Teachers observe a student's attention response to instructional materials or interactions with other students. They provide us with valuable information about how a class is going or what their relationship is with us and with that subject. And now the advantages. Well, number 1, the setting is the classroom environment. It takes little time. Observe records observation with anecdotal notes or rotating scale. It can be scored with a rubric or rotating scale. It's a different way of evaluating students. The number 8, the portfolios. It is a learning and self-assessment instrument that allows the student to be aware of their own learning. Is a focused collection of student work to show progress over time. Portfolios can also be digital because I can make a portfolio on my drive by creating a new folder. And now I'm going to talk about advantage about the portfolio. It is a tool that we can use where we can save all our work. It integrates information from a number of sources. It gives an overall picture of student performance and learning. It has a strong student involvement and commitment. It calls for a student self-assessment. Well, this is all my presentation. Thank you.